Welcome to another edition of Broken, Not Shattered. This is your host, Ike Obwebili. This platform has been designed to bring in people who have a story to tell. We all have stories to tell, who have a message to share, or something that will be inspiring, some inspirational information from whatever source of life it comes from to inspire our audience globally. This platform ministry is for everyone. There's no age bracket. Anyone can come and tell their story. Just send us a message at any of our platforms. Send us a message on broken not shattered BNS, Facebook, YouTube, and even on Instagram. And we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Today, I have a very interesting young man who I have known over the last 7 years, actually. I've come to about 5, 7 years. I ran into this young man at a very peculiar and challenging time in his life. And he has become a brother, a friend, a son, and someone that I can actually call one of my backbone. He's an engine guy. He's always behind, running things for us. But gradually, he's come to the forefront because he has a lot of potential. He's now been assigned as our country manager for everything that we do, both here and also back in Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome no one else but my brother and friend, Mr. Obi Ginikawa. Hey, Obi.
Wow, good evening.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm fine.
Good. And
How
how's
are
the
you over
family?
there?
Everyone's doing well?
We're doing good. We thank God.
Obi, today you and I are going to just have a chat. We're going to talk about brokenness, really. The whole idea behind this platform is something I don't normally talk about, but it was birthed out of my own personal experience of being or going through a lot of broken moments in my personal life. Um, Used to be a very tough guy, cocky guy, strong, very, very strong guy. And then gradually, God started gradually breaking me down spiritually and breaking me down in several different areas of my life. But you see, when I was going through those stages of brokenness, I actually thought they were a punishment. But what he was doing, he was actually molding me into the man that he wanted me to become and the man that I'm gradually becoming today. And I thank God for those broken moments. I thank God for that time of humility and humbling me, and times of I had suffered rejection. Yes, I did. It doesn't look like it, but yeah. Sometimes I've suffered a lot of almost like in a very depressed state. But all those calamities, he kept on telling me, I got you. And that's why I always use those words, I got you. Even one of the
Yeah.
darkest times that I will share one day in my life, um, where I was in a place of confinement, and God said, I will set you free from this for my name's sake. I'm not a perfect man, never claimed to be. I'm still on the journey of life. But man, oh man, I've been through some tough things, and God has always, 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 always brought me out. And that's why I have a very tender heart when I see guys who are going through a lot. It has enhanced my empathy, both for people in the corporate and marketing space, to pour in my company, focusing on self-development and empowering people across the board. And then also in my spiritual walk, it's also helped me because I now can see people who are broken or going through a lot and reach out to them and just to pull them out of that dungeon, or to speak a word of encouragement to let them know that they are loved by God Himself, and that Christ died for them, and that at the end of the day, they will still make it. Just lost one of my very closest friends recently. It was a very tough time, very, very tough time the last 2 weeks, but I know she's in a better place. So this particular show, I'm dedicating it to no one else than to Lynette Pelzer, who is one of the closest persons to me. It has been a very tough time. Wherever you are, Lynette, I know you can hear me. I shared this dream with you many, 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 many months ago, and you always said, go for it. I go for it. So here we are. Love you. I miss you. I hope to see you soon when I get back to glory. You're one of the best souls I've ever had. No one ever would have treated me the way you've treated me. I'm telling you, the love you showed me, showed my family, my children. You took them on as your godmother, and you became almost their second mom. No one else. Everyone around me, my entire siblings, have come to know you. My very close friends, both here in the US and internationally, be it in the UK and in Nigeria, have come to know you because of the relationship that you and I have had. You were a sister, you were a true friend, and you were my confidant. I could share anything with you, and you look me in the eye and tell me what I didn't want to hear, and what I wanted to hear. But at the end of the day, it was all done out of love. Love you, Lynn. God bless you. All right, got that out of my way. Obi, let's talk. When I met
Okay.
Obi, Obi was uh, struggling, really struggling
Big
in the
big
back
time.
streets of some place in Isaleko. It was somewhere in Africa, just going through some very very rough times, man. And I had
Rough
just come
time.
back. I
Very
think I just come back into the country
yeah.
from the United States of America, and I remember Obi coming to me in church. Our pastor,
Yeah.
solid guy, good
Yeah.
man, always,
Yeah.
always, always solid. Love you with all my heart,
Yeah.
Pastor Paul Deferasin. Pastor
Sure.
Paul had the service going on, and then I don't know how and how the Holy Spirit just took him to an area where he started talking about God of the bad boys, and then he
Yeah.
started telling the church that that folks who are here, so who are very close to his network, are
Yeah.
guys who used to be in fraternities and cults back in the day in university. And from nowhere, he now decided to ask everybody who was in a fraternity or cult to please
Exactly.
stand up. So all
Exactly.
these tough guys around me, like my brother Wenga, who carries
Yeah.
pastor's Bible, they all stood
Yeah.
up, and
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
solid guys that were just in the group all stood up, and I refused to stand. I sat down tight, and then he said to us, "If you're still standing, if you're still sitting, then that means
It
you're
means
still
you're not
involved."
fully out.
That means you're still involved and you're not
Yeah.
really out. I said, only
Yeah.
Pastor Paul, man. So I stood up and I could hear the gasp of people
Mm,
who were
mm,
actually sitting
mm,
behind me to say, this guy, you a frat man. And then that
mm.
was not enough for us. He now told us to come to the front and tell
Yeah.
everybody, really and honestly,
Yeah.
what group or gang were you part of when you were in college? And I mentioned ours, or mine, and I told them that I was a don in university for almost 2 years, and they couldn't believe it. And he
Yeah.
said, well, the same leadership skills that you had back then when you were in darkness is the same leadership skills you're using right now, as a leader in ministry and a leader in your corporate world. So it's a skill set, and what the enemy had planned for evil, God turned it around and he's using it for good. And then Obi
Indeed.
came running out from the crowd because I mentioned the fraternity that he belongs. And ever since he left the back streets of nowhere, he
Mm.
hasn't seen anybody entirely. And Obi ran
Yeah.
to me and said to me, "Oh, sir, can I talk to you?" And I first of all brushed him off. I didn't want to deal with him.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to deal with Obi. I'm like, man, I ain't dealing with this guy. This guy looks so rough. He explained himself to me. I took his number. I refused to call him back. He saw me again later on.
Exactly.
I said,
Exactly.
sir, please, I need to talk to you. So this time around, I shared it with a few friends of mine who I knew, and and I told them, hey, people in my close circle that time. I said, hey, there's this guy, and I said, hey, open up and talk to him. Open up and talk to him. And
Wow.
Obi and I spoke, and the rest is history. So you tell the story from your side, brother, because that was
Yeah.
the bonding of two strong men.
Exactly. This is becoming an interesting moment. It's more like a catch up for me, a throwback. One of the things I want to do this evening is just to stay as free as I can. You
Be
know,
that, yeah, be free.
I just want to be free. I just want to, have the mindset of those our usual chats, just the two of us.
That's
Not
fine.
not like an interview. So I
That's
can flow very fine.
that's fine.
As you were giving that story, I remembered something.
Yeah,
It was quite motivational seeing you, coming out. But then it began from somewhere, and I think that we might get into in the course of the interview. So having turned a new leaf, had my struggles, and still in the struggle, but then something brought me to House on the Rock. Remember. And one of the interesting things was it was just the very first place I worshipped when I came into Lagos, and I refused to go elsewhere.
Wow.
I've heard about it in school, but then when I finally came to, in fact, from school, I was hearing of the experience and all that, and people in the east, some people could travel a day before the experience, sleep in the experience ground just to be part of the experience, and then come back with the gist. And some of us, because of how the network was bad where we couldn't even watch it. We would just wait to hear them come give us the gist. So it was quite interesting to see. Finally, I made it to Lagos, and then lo and behold, so close to House on the Rock. And then that Sunday, a friend of mine called me, say, let's worship. And I said, where? I said, House on the Rock. I said, this is what I've been looking for. And guess what? When I stepped into that place, it was awesome. There was something I saw, the spirit of excellence.
That's House on the Rock for you.
I said to myself,
The Spirit of God
there is something.
and the Spirit of Christ,
Yes,
Jesus, with
yes,
the Spirit of excellence. Because I know somebody else is going to say,
exactly.
see now, all they do preaching is excellence. They're not preaching Christ. Christ is in that house.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly. And one of the things that had drawn me to Christianity, well, for the Christianity, I believe my perception for Christianity is that, they that worship their, they, how did the, let me paraphrase it. You say, is it they that worship their God will look like they are a kind of have a reflection of the God they
Of
worship.
who they're worshiping. Correct. Yes.
You understand? So I said, I won't look tattered because my God, I am a reflection of the God I worship.
Right.
That's one of my mindsets. That I am a reflection of how I look is how my God look. And when I stepped into that place, I saw true fellowship, and above all, I saw that level of what do I call it? That
Oneness
level
and
of yes,
unity.
yes, and I used the word. Um, what was the word I used earlier? I said
Excellence.
excellent spirit. Yes,
Yes.
I remember that was the spirit that was found in Daniel.
That's right.
Now I said to myself, this is where I belong. And I remember the scripture that said, he who dwells in the company of the fool becomes what?
Foolish.
Foolish. And he who dwells in the company of the wise will end up becoming what? Wise.
Why? Mm-hmm.
And I said to myself, even if I don't become it, I will get a rub off of it that will make me different the way I came. I don't know if you get the theory.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
That definitely there is going to be a change because I saw the height of what I was looking for. And I said, this is where I belong. Then I started looking at how do I get myself involved in what is happening. The Bible said, Apostle Paul said, follow me as I do what? Follow Christ. So I
Right.
said, what I will be doing is to follow step by step whatsoever the precept is. And here I have men I've always heard of, more especially Pastor Paul. We were reading about, we were watching his tape those days in school. And then I said, wow, this is fine. So I started trying to get myself integrated in whatsoever that is happening in the church to build my faith.
Wow.
Now, the interesting thing was, you see, that Sunday when that incident happened and I got to meet you, I've started, I've had those classes, started with seed and faithfully been involved. But then that Sunday, when Pastor Paul made that call, I struggled to stand as well.
Welcome back to another issue of or edition of Broken Nuts Shattered with my guest today is someone who is so dear to me, Dr. Obi Ginikawa himself. What's up, buddy? Your network was bad, so we had to cut you out.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes. I don't. Is it better now? I don't mind this.
Yeah,
We moved
yeah,
from 4G to 3G.
it's okay. It's Nigeria.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I,
So yes, you were telling us a story about you
I'm
saw the
trying to.
caliber of guys that stood up. Yeah.
Yes. So I was thinking it was going to end at just come out and then move back. But then he ended up giving each and every one of us the mic to say introduce yourself and say where you're coming from. Now remember that there were men like David who followed David.
Hmm.
And I've always had that theory that you are not sent to everybody. You are sent to a certain area of individuals or a certain, a defined set of people, which
Correct.
might likely be received from the experience you had, because
Hmm.
your experience is your message.
That's right. Your
Now,
message
so
is your message.
the people you, exactly. So the people you are giving to are your kind.
Correct.
Now, it is easier for a man to believe a man if you have been through that part.
Correct.
So it was quite motivational for me when I saw you and you introduced yourself. And guess what? You weren't looking Nigeria. I saw it was like another version of excellence. This man was looking posh, looking cool, very suited, nice
Oh,
looking.
cut it
I like,
out.
wow. And I said to myself, I can look like this, so you know. And when you made mention of where you've been to, I was like, wow. I got to the highest council, but I did not get into your position. And I said, if this man could get to this point and dropped it for Christ,
Had
now
to.
what I need to do is to follow him the way he followed Christ.
That's correct.
Now that means there were things he did to, there were things he saw that made him stay where he is now. And I said to myself, I can see through him that same thing, to build my faith to stay strong. And that was when I approached you. But I didn't get discouraged with the response I got, because I knew where I was going. I could remember. I still went. In fact, of late, that was some months ago. I went back to my archives, digging out my mail, and I saw the very first mail I sent to you. It was quite a compendium. You know, I could remember I sent you a very long
Mel.
network.
Yeah. Are you there? The network
Are
is
you
cutting off. Yeah, we're here.
there? So, and that was it. And I was so excited the day you find, because you didn't just respond to the mail, and then somehow you left, and then we lost communication somehow. I kept writing and I kept calling, and it was quite interesting that you finally gave me audience. And to crown it up, when we started working together, it was like a dream come true. And looking back, I could see a whole lot of change. And as if you knew what was in my mind, you sat me down and said, Obi, we need to do a brush up. And you said to me, you know, every mistake is a learning opportunity.
That's correct. I
And
told you.
that gave me the relaxed mind. I've always come from the background of do bad, get beaten. You're stupid, you're not getting it right. You're useless. And you can't get, and I've been looking for where I can be accepted, be given the opportunity, tried but you took me, watched me do it, make my mistakes and get corrected. I wasn't this eloquent when I met you. It was
No, you
that
had
bad. But you
no,
gave me
I
you
don't agree with you. I don't agree with you.
no,
The truth
no.
of the matter.
I,
No, I
I may
remember the
be
first.
eloquent. I may be eloquent, but I said wasn't this eloquent.
Okay,
So
okay, I
there's
agree
been
with
a
you.
change.
Okay, okay,
There's been
right.
a change.
Okay, okay, I agree with you.
Yes.
I agree with
So
you.
so
I
so
remember.
that's
I
it.
remember. I remember the first day when you showed up in the office. and I looked at
Yes.
you from the window, and I saw you coming at standing at the gate. And I was like, wow, is this, if nothing else, this guy is well dressed and well groomed. I can work with him.
Yes.
I can work with him. And you came in, and sat down, and we started talking. You know, and I just wanted you to be at ease with yourself. Tell me what your dreams were. I told you where I was, and I told you what I could offer you. I said maybe silver and gold I might not be able to give you, but every contact I have,
Mm,
you will have access to that same contact. And every room I enter, you will have
mm.
access to enter that room if you so choose.
Yeah.
Just
Yes.
hang with me, stay with me, and the rest is history. You know, we got to a point where um, I'll be going for meetings and I'll tell the driver to stay back, and then you and I will just drive together, so we can talk freely, catch up, and just uh, we didn't I didn't need to be chauffeur driven, because I could trust that if you were driving, then we're in good hands, and it's amazing how
What
far
about
you've
this
come.
network? It's really fluctuating.
Yes, it is. It's amazing how far you've come, to be this great guy that you are today. uh, uh, Under that period of time, you met this beautiful woman who just looks like an ultimate princess. And before you knew it, after getting married, seconds later, you got a baby on the way. So it's been a huge journey. It's you have been a blessing to my ministry, a blessing to my family, a blessing to my family, a blessing to me as a person. You're just a great guy, and I'm happy to have you as part of this team, as part of this ministry, and everything that I do. So very dependable. So we've got 10 more minutes. So we're going to use the 10 minutes wisely.
Mm.
So Obi, tell me, what has been your biggest challenge um, out there in Lagos, and where do you see yourself? What is it that you want to accomplish?
Okay, that's fine. I could remember listening to somebody and he said his biggest challenge is fear, and and fear is the biggest challenge in the sense that sometimes we, more especially, we see ourselves in Nigeria where you have big dreams and what is happening around you does not support your big dreams. So you see yourself struggling so hard to make sure you catch up. I've always looked to a point where, just the same way you gave me the opportunity to be who I am and beyond, I've always looked towards extending that same hands to others, where I can be in a space where I can comfortably help people through either mentorship, um, skill acquisition, um, in any way in life. Be in a position where I can reach out to lives and help them. Um, I'm a career person. I've always tried to see how I can better myself in area of finance, business strategy, and all that. But that's just to place myself in a position where I can easily reach out to life and be a blessing to lives around me. You know, Judging from where I came from or my background or what I've been through in life, there are a whole lot out there who definitely will need that hand of fellowship to become, you know, what they desire to be. Now, one of the things I tried to do, even this time around, is to, in humility, visit some kind of local places to interact with people who maybe feel rejected, or maybe people who feel they are isolated, to kind of kind of have that what it feels like for them, and then come back to ruminate on how best can I make this person. Sometimes I end up, trying to talk them out of that situation, to tell them, yeah, there's something you carry, and definitely it's going to come. So that helps me, keep my dream in view, of how to reach out to people like that in time to come. That's
Well,
basically.
while you're on your journey, in looking at going to these places to work with people that you're targeting, also look out for people who have a story to share. You know, they might not be able to have and be able to come to us, and then we'll just go to them and
Yeah,
give them that
definitely.
opportunity to share their story
Yeah,
and let them tell the story that we need to hear, because there's a lot going on. The way we can transform. I remember one experience I had when I went to work for the guys in Ajegunle, Christmas in Ajegunle that year. Um, Ajegunle is almost like the slum of the slums in Nigeria. It's the ghetto of the ghetto in Lagos.
yeah,
But there are people there who are doing great and mighty things. A lot of superstars have come out of those ghettos, and we went there. And I wasn't just going to go there like some guy who just came from the island, and I wanted to really mix with the people. So I
exactly.
told my contact person to take us round, and he did. He took us around, and we saw what the place really looked like, and we were able to interact, engage, and inspire. And then we came back, and we were a big blessing
Yeah,
to almost 500 families in that neighborhood. Big blessing, and that's something I would love to do again this year if possible.
yeah,
I know we couldn't do much last year, but again this year we should be able to go back and make it, maybe if possible, a regular thing where we just go in there and be a blessing to folks in Ajegunle around the Christmas time and even beyond Christmas. Because Vocal Slander, who's the guy who's leading that whole, has taken charge of that whole neighborhood, is doing some great things. They
exactly.
built up with the help of Nenna. They've started a factory where they make bags, shoes, clothes, uniforms. And it's just expanding. So that was a big dream that just came out of that whole thing, and
Yeah,
I'm glad that we were able to be part of it. Obi, it's always a joy talking to you. You and I can go on forever.
yeah,
Um, I know you've been through some very dark times, so go ahead and talk.
exactly. Exactly. I just wanted to just drop this, maybe as a last word. Um, you know, the journey has been a journey of grace, and this might be to someone who is thinking, "Can I make it?"
Right.
Yes, you can. It always begins from that point of belief. Now move yourself from seeing what is physical around you to the the imaginative stage of life, or imaginative person inside of you, or your imaginations. Live in your imaginations. Forget what is around you. Now believe in yourself and believe that it will happen for you. And what I'm trying to say is this: judging from where I came, it got to a point where that was the only hope I have, to believe that God could see me through. And I started taking some positive steps. I've been to the low and the lowest of life, which time will not permit me to share. But I got to the point where I began to have that paradigm shift. And then I began to look at the possible way out. I moved from my environment. I began to look at people who I want to be like, to see how I can get closer to that environment where I feel that change I'm looking for can come to me. And if you can have that same mindset, begin to change the way you think, begin to feel you can get it right. And if it can happen to me, or if it can happen for me, it can happen for you too. It's just grace.
Wow, powerful. I like how you said it. It's just grace, and it's grace and grace alone. Nothing else matters.
Yeah,
Just grace. All
just
right,
grace.
buddy. Thanks a lot. You and I have more to talk about. We'll be chatting as time goes along. It's a joy and a pleasure. ladies and gentlemen, we're going to sign out for today's topic on today's issue of broken, not shattered. As you're seeing, two broken men who have not been shattered, just
That
grace and grace and grace alone has kept us and given us everything that we have and much more that we're about to become. This
yeah.
ministry is going global. It's going to be impactful. It's going to touch lives from the throne of grace. Please keep me in your prayers, and let's keep this platform going and see how what the Lord wants to do with each and every one of us. On behalf of the team who are in the backstage and our producer, Mr. Good News himself, Prince Will, and Michael, we just want to say a big thank you to everyone who's been part
Thank
of
you.
this journey so far. All right,
Thank you.
we're signing out. Have a blessed day and a wonderful weekend.
You too. Thank you so
Good.
much.